What is up, everyone? Happy Friday, and welcome to the Dynasty Diehards. I am here with my good friend Matt Chester, and we have got 5 players we think you must have in Dynasty, and we're going to get to it right now. And there's Matt Chester ready. See, this is so fun on live content. And if you're listening on our version, I was just running, and he has no audio there.
Oh, I think your sound is going up and down, but it might just be me.
It could just be you. It's probably those AirPods, man.
It's better now. Yeah, you're right.
Better now. All right. Yeah, it's just the AirPods. All right. Technical difficulties are out of the way here. We've got a show to get to, folks. But before we get into these players, I want to remind you to please follow us on Twitter at FFDinoDiehards, at Rasball, at Nate Paulvote, and at FFMadJester. Make sure you are liking all of our videos and subscribing to the channel, guys. We have a ton of not just NFL content coming out, but we are one of the best fantasy baseball sites out there if you're into that kind of thing. And as a Dynasty Fantasy Football Manager, I think you just might be. So definitely check out the site, guys, and the YouTube channel. We've got a lot going on. All right, now that I'm catching my breath here, Mr. Chester, let's get into our first buy here. And this is a player that I don't understand. I don't understand why people are so low on him. Right now, he's sitting at QB 26 in Dynasty, and it's Will Levis. I really seriously, can you help me understand this perception that he was bad last year?
Yeah. Let me pull up his games, because I know that if you look at it as a full season, when you spread out his 4 touchdown game over the next 4 games, he has about a touchdown per game. So what I'm saying there is that he started off with just a ridiculous first game. I think Nuke probably got 3 of those touchdowns. It was very inspiring. And then the next 3 games, he didn't do much. Let me look up those exact numbers.
Well, you know, something I can tell you right now, he had 2 really poor games, just incredibly poor games that were later in the season. And then he didn't play week 18. But generally, so 58.4 overall completion percentage on the season. If you take out those 2 earlier games, he was over 6. Those 2 poor games, he was over 60%. His yards per attempt of 7.1 would have been 14th amongst qualifying QBs if he had started the full season, if he could have kept at that pace, which I believe he could have. And he was second among rookie quarterbacks behind only CJ Stroud. That doesn't sound bad to me.
It doesn't. And, you know, if we saw him through a whole season, he might have stepped up towards the after the first 8 or so games that he had. I think he averaged in 6-point passing touchdown. He averaged about 13 points per game, which is fine unless you take out his 1 outlier game of 37 points. Then his points per game goes way down, and it's scary. I'll tell you this: they did get Calvin Ridley. They did get Tony Pollard, who's a pass catching back. So they are surrounding him with more pieces. And, if he's a cheap buy, I'll definitely pick him up. I'm very happy to spend a mid-second on him anywhere that he's available for that. I don't know that anybody who's held him this entire time is willing to re-roll on a cheaper price than they paid the first time around. But I would definitely be willing to pay, that 204, 203 range is fine. Even if you wanted to creep up into the 112, I could see doing that.
Well, yeah, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that value. And here's something we've got to remember too, Matt. This is a different offense than what he ran in last year. Mike Vrabel's gone. The addition of Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard tells me that they're going to throw the ball more in this offense. And if he gets that additional volume, I really like Levis. And at QB 26, I mean, seriously, if that's where we're valuing him right now, you have to be buying Will Levis. Just absolutely have to be buying him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So if you take out his 1 outlier game of 37 points, he averaged 10 points per game, which is
it's not great. I know it's not great, but again, like I said, he was in that Vrabel offense with Derrick Henry. What are you going to do in that offense? You're going to run the hell out of the ball.
Cram it.
Someone I like alongside him, and he's not on the show sheet. We're not going to talk at length about him, but Chiga Okonkwo. I think he could see a bump this year. And with the tight end position being what it is, I mean, anybody could be a tight end 1, right?
Yeah, he did show really good numbers, really good efficiency the first year. A lot of promise. I don't know where he went last year, but I don't see anybody else coming in to usurp his role. There aren't many rookie tight ends to be worried about. Yeah, Chig is good. If you can get him as a throw-in, I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, I think he's sitting at like tight end 20, 21, 22, somewhere in that range, like a back end tight end too. So I'd go out. I mean, he's a dart throw guy, right? We don't know what he's going to be in a better offense. So I'm willing to take a risk. Another guy that there's just perception that he's been really bad, but he's a big guy right now is Joe Mixon. In a new offense, people were really worried about him, which I don't really understand. And he was RB6 this season. He was RB10 in 2022. He was RB4 in 2020. I mean, that's not bad, right? I know he's 28, but now he's in a more, I'm not going to say a more efficient offense, probably a more electric, dynamic offense than what they run in Cincinnati.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. What are you okay with spending for Mixon right now? Would you take Levis over Mixon in a Superflex dynasty?
Yes. In a startup? Yes.
In a startup, yes. It really is a situational between those two.
Right. It is. I mean, so here's the thing. I've looked at some different trade analyzers, right? And they have him going for like an early mid-second, 2024, like early to mid-second is about his value. Then I dug into some actual trades on the Player Profiler Trade Finder, which only pulls from MFL. So that should be noted. Those leagues can get really weird. He was going anywhere from a mid-second to a mid-third, plus he was being packaged a ton in trades. So he's being moved, especially since the trade. What do you think his ceiling is this season, realistically, in this offense?
Probably about where it's been for the last few years. I could see him getting another 1 or 2 years of production even. And that's fine. You know, if you're looking for a somewhat reliable low-end RB1 for a year or two, that's really all you can ask for in the dynasty running back landscape. So yeah, if you like the guy and have faith in him, he's probably available in a bunch of your leagues for a very reasonable price.
Oh, I'm grabbing as much Mixon as I can, to be quite honest. I'm excited about him. I'm excited about this Houston offense in general. And I think the dynamic he adds, look, Devin Singletary walked into 898 yards last season.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
So Devin Singletary was at times a very viable fantasy asset. He's much better than Devin Singletary.
So I did send out a trade recently, Superflex tight end premium start 10. I sent the 212 and 309 to try and get Mixon and AJ Dillon, just because somebody said in the group in the league chat, you know, I'm trying to get rid of all my old players. So I was like, all right, well, how about these two end of career running backs, older running backs, 212 and 309, and he countered with he wanted the 112 for Joe Mixon and AJ Dillon, and that's a little bit out of my price range. I'm just not looking to spend that right now. I'd rather play with that 112 in the draft and see what we can do then.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I'm not really giving away first-round picks right now. It has to be a really good trade offer for me to throw it in. I think there's a lot of value in the first round of these rookie drafts. So I want to get to some comments real quick here. We've got 2 Facebook users here. Guys, I'm sorry it doesn't tell us your names. It's a weird setting through the Facebook group. Why it does that, I don't know. We've got 2 people, though, in the chat who are saying that they are Levis buyers this offseason. We've got our homie Toronto Dave in the chat with the party emoji. Our very loyal listener, Jamie Parag in there. What's up, fellas? We appreciate it. Our buddy, FF Tyler. Oh, Mixon's going to eat as he does. You are 100% right. I can't see him not finishing top 10 in this offense.
And FF Tyler O is a highly regarded ranker. I think he was top 8 in the entire
top 5?
Something like that. Probably top 1. Top 5 in the expert rankings, top 1 in our hearts.
Top 1 in our hearts.
Shout out to O.
And see, we're top 1 in his hearts too. Look at this handsome guy. I'm assuming he's talking about me.
He's trying to start a fight.
For sure.
This is a clever strategy. It's that whole toss a fucking stone in the middle of the enemy ranks and see who beats each other up.
Right. So just a little tip for all the Facebook users out there from Toronto Dave. You need to be verified to not be anonymous within the group. So, guys, we'll work on getting you all verified in that group.
Sure.
Hit me up on
just
Facebook and we'll
Venmo
take care of
us
it.
$10 and we'll verify you right now.
Yeah, exactly. Just $10. Now, speaking of more content, man, I just want to let people know here, we do have a home YouTube channel in addition to all of our content here on Razzball. So if you love our show, and we know you do, please head on over to our home YouTube channel. The link is in the show description. It's also right here on this beautiful graphic. We'll be dropping tons of short form content as the offseason rolls on to help you win the offseason in your Dynasty leagues. That's youtube.com/Dynasty Diehards. If you didn't have time to write it down one more time, you can find the link in the show description, whether this is the audio version or the video version. We've got you covered. Mr. Chester, that was a breathful here. So I'm going to go to one more comment. It is Tyler. He appreciates the kind words. Look, dude, we're just out here speaking truth. So nothing to it, buddy. Now, we've got more players to talk about. We've got 3 more, in fact, to get to. Now we're going to get to a wide receiver, Matt, that I freaking love this situation. It's Jayden Reed in Green Bay. And yeah. He's going, and now look, this is not a cheap buy in Dynasty, okay? And we never promised that these guys were going to be cheap buys or they were going to be sleepers. These are just players we think you need to be kicking the tires on and seeing if you can get them on your roster. If you're wide receiver needy, Jayden Reed is going for a mid-first round right now.
Ooh,
if you're wide
mid-first
receiver
round.
needy, mid-first.
Ooh.
I'm very much okay with that.
Huh. With spending
Jordan
the
Love,
mid-first.
I'm okay with spending the mid-first. If I'm looking at
Okay.
wide receiver, I will spend it on Jayden Reed rather than one of these guys that, look, Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, they're going to be gone by 106, 107, 108. They're gone.
Why do you love Jayden Reed so much that you're putting him over Rome Odunze, probably JJ McCarthy? I could see Brock Bowers falling to 108 in some of these leagues where people are scared of rookie tight end is going to have some people nervous.
No way.
But so I think 108 is going to be, depending on who jumps. What's that?
We'll say mid to late.
Okay.
I get your point. I get what you're saying. The thing is that I think he's going to be a wide receiver 1 this year.
Ooh.
I think Jayden Reed is going to be a wide receiver 1 this year. He had the 3rd highest PFF grade on the team, receiving grade, which I know a lot of people don't like the PFF grades, but I think it's a good baseline for skill within a set.
Who has higher PFF grade than him on the Packers?
Higher receiving grade?
I'm guessing Dontavian Wicks snuck in there.
And I believe it was Aaron Jones. I'd have to go back and look, and I'm not going to do that right now.
Okay.
Not that I don't love it, but Romeo Doubs is definitely one of them. He was second on the team in receiving yards, 828 behind Romeo Doubs. He had 68 catches on 97 targets when he had 8 receiving touchdowns.
Okay.
I don't see the Packers making any other significant moves at receiver this offseason. I think they're set.
That is really important for sure.
Yeah. They have Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jayden Reed. They've got their slot locked up. They've got their X and their Y locked up. They don't need to do anything else. They've got even their tight end situations locked up with Tyler Kraft and Luke Musgrave. So
I think that the one name that you're leaving off, is Dontavian Wicks, and I think that's probably the clever leverage move right now. Is instead of spending the 109 on Jayden Reed, see if you can get a Dontavian Wicks for a future second, third swap. Like I would send a future second to get.
Both.
There you go. Get
them both. Stack them up. I get what you're saying. Go with the lower priced option in the offense. And I know that's how you dynasty, your arbitrage and your phenomenal style that you dynasty in. But for me, this is a player where it's like, okay, well, if I'm even slightly contending, I want Jayden Reed. I want a guy like this on my team. He's going into his 2nd year. Jordan Love looked phenomenal. This is the youngest offense in the league, Matt. The youngest offense in the league. So
Green Bay's really fun.
They're really fun. This is a team that can compete for the NFC South with Detroit. I really believe that. I think that this offense can maybe compete with them. Maybe they're a year away. Okay. But I really do think there's a chance that they could compete with them this year.
I like it. I'm in on it. I'm not in on it at the prices, but I agree with you. Jayden Reed is a stud. And
I mean, yeah, the price is high, and I agree with you on that. But sometimes you have to pay up to get players you want on your roster. This is a player I think you should be willing to pay up to get on your roster because the upside is so huge.
So again, we're in the same range of would you rather Mixon, Levis, or Jayden Reed? Because we're talking about the same range right now, but it sounds like you have Jayden Reed highest, and I can't really get on board with that.
Yeah, I probably do have Jayden Reed the highest.
I'd probably
but that's different. That's trade wise. We're
just out of value.
Not my established team.
I'd have to say Levis, Reed, Mixon, and
that's fine, and I'm okay.
And
with
you know
that.
what? I think production might. I might have to go the opposite of that. I think if I was win now, looking at production only, I'd probably have to go Mixon, Reed, Levis.
See, I'd have to go Reed, Mixon, Levis. Win now. It's Reed,
Mixon, Levis. That's very fair. Absolutely, especially depending on if it's start 9 versus start 11. You know, those extra wide receiver 1-2s are really important to have in your flexes.
No, 100%. Now, guys, we couldn't let you leave an episode of Dynasty Diehards without a couple of sleeper-ish guys you can go out and grab. And, of course, one of them has to be a tight end. And if you have followed this show, you know how much I love Cade Otton. Now, to be fair, he's currently sitting at tight end 23. He finished tight end 20 last season.
Tight end 20 free.
Yes. That's a great way to put it because he is essentially free right now.
Yeah, I think any third would get him.
A third?
I think so.
Dude, trade valuers are basically putting him at like a 2025 fourth.
Oh, then yeah, you should have Cade Otton on every one of your teams. He didn't look terrible. They're running back the same offense with Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody challenging him, and it's tight end. So fill in where you need
he's
to.
He's a guy where you throw him on your bench. Tampa Bay plays a team that can't stop tight ends. He went off. We thought he was going to go off against Philly last year. It didn't end up materializing, but that's the situation we want to play a guy like Otton. And seriously, if you're giving up a 2025 fourth to get him on your roster, that's almost less than nothing.
Sure. Yeah. And right? To a lot of people who have him, it's roster clearing season between now and week 1. Mm-hmm. So he's probably really easy to package for. Some people if they're looking to make room in the rosters and they might not be able to get rid of the Bo Meltons that are on waiver wires everywhere else, they might have to step up just a tiny little level and get rid of the players who are just above the Bo Meltons, which is the Cade Ottons. And in that case, you could get him for nearly anything because they're not going to get anything for the players that are less valuable than him. Yeah.
Make him a toss in a trade.
Yep, absolutely.
You got another deal going. Say, hey, can we toss in Cade Otton?
Can we toss in? Can we toss in Chigakonkwo? No, he's too promising. No. Okay, top in Cade Otton instead. Sure.
Yep. So I want to get to a few more comments here. We've got a Jamie saying, "I'd rather have Odunze than Reed." That's fair. All right, that's fair. But if it's win now, we don't know where Odunze is going to land, and we don't know what his production is going to be year 1. Not everyone can be Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. That's just the way it is. And that's a spicy take. Is Reed is top 12? I know it is, but it's not. I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's a risky take, but I think it's a take that can pay off in this offense. I loved what I saw from him last year. 8 touchdowns, your rookie season out of the slot.
Great.
I'm all for that. We've got Toronto Dave saying Melton. We love Bo Melton.
Melton faces.
Yeah. Friend of the show, Herms, got to talk to his brother. No, it was not Herms. I had that wrong. One of my crew got to talk to him. His parents were his babysitter when he was a kid, so it was kind of a cool moment for him. His brother balled out as a cornerback at the Senior Bowl, so look out for Max Melton. He'll be around. All right. Jamie, one more comment here. I was stashing Wicks for free off waivers or late 4th last year. That is
smart, man.
Very smart. Very, very smart. Melton faces.
Mm-hmm. Up and down the sideline. See you later.
We love it. All right. Well, let's get to this last player. I'm just going to say it. Chuba Hubbard out of Carolina. And why do I like Chuba Hubbard? I just do.
Are you asking? Is this a hypothetical?
No, it's not. So he's currently going for a mid-second.
I like
it.
Which,
I do too. Dave Canales, Tampa Bay's offensive coordinator, is there as the head coach.
Ooh, how was Dave Canales' running back 1 last year? Who was that? What did he do?
That was Rashad White.
I've heard of him.
Really freaking good. You can forget Miles Sanders exists. I think they're going to release him.
I did. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody, but I think they're releasing him. He was the PPR RB 27 last season.
Chuba. So that is an average of 2 different seasons that he had last year, though, because up until game 11, he broke double digits in fantasy points only twice through the first 11 games, or through the first 11 weeks, and then over the next 7 weeks, he never had single-digit points. Over the last 7 games of the season, his points were 20 points, 22 points, 11.5 points, 12.5 points, 12 points, 11 points, 11 points. That's great. You're never gonna be upset about having an RB2, a cheap RB2, who's getting double-digit fantasy points every week. And I think that we saw his floor in that terrible offense last year was at 11 points through down the final stretch. He does have a much better coach this year with Canales. They got Deontay Johnson to give a little bit more of a receiving threat to open up the box. And he did not bring in any competition. He is a decent pass catcher. A lot of things are looking up for Chuba Hubbard's situation. And, if all you're looking for is double-digit fantasy points from your RB2, I don't know if you could find a better fit for this secret dude with an awesome name.
Dude, okay, so I love that you made that point because it really was a tale of 2 seasons with him. I was about to get there. You beat me to it, and I love it. Something I want to also bring up here. Carolina added 2 new guards in free agency. Now, I looked into these 2 guys. They're mediocre. They're nothing exciting. They were like 25th and 27th ranked guards in the NFL out of like 60. However, they're still better than what Carolina had. They're going to give Bryce Young a little bit better protection, and they're going to help that inside run game. And for a smaller back like Chuba, having a little bit better play at guard is going to help him immensely. If you've got guys who can pull to the outside faster, if you've got guys who can work the middle better and create the A gap so you can hit it and get through, I think these are things that are just really in Chuba's advantage. This is going to be a better Carolina team. Are they going to be great? No. They're still going to finish last in their division, but they're going to be improved from what Frank Reich brought to the table last year. I like Dave Canales, and I like the fact that we've got Tampa Bay's offense coming into Carolina. We really all loved that offense last year. Deontay Johnson plays the Mike Evans role. Chuba Hubbard is Rashad White. What else do you want?
Nothing. That covers that checks all the boxes. Okay. I'm in on him.
So now trade analyzers, like I said, have him going for an early to mid second. However, in the real world, if you look at the trades that are actually happening right now, he's generally being swapped for a 2024 or a 2025 mid to late 3rd round pick, and he's in a lot of package deals.
Huh.
So this is why I don't love trade analyzers and trade charts sometimes, is because there's an actual real world value, and that's what the market is telling us it is. A trade chart is fine if everyone uses the same trade chart, but there's like 30 different ones you can go to. The Razzball one's the best. If I'm gonna be honest here, what Richard Sickles does with our trade chart is phenomenal. So go check that one out. But I mean, real world value of Hubbard it's not that second. It's not that mid second. It's closer to a 3rd.
Yeah, I could see that. I think you'd probably get him on a 2-3 swap. I know last year I couldn't give him away for a 2-3 swap, and this year I'm probably on the other end of that.
Yeah, no, you definitely will be. Got one last comment here I want to get to. Jamie Parag, Panthers can possibly win 3 games this year. I mean, look, it's not pretty, but it's still a freaking improvement, right? Because they were just so bad last year.
Anything is an improvement from last in the league.
Yeah. All right, well, before we get you out of here and on your way to the rest of your Friday here, go for it.
Can I give a little aside for Chuba Hubbard?
Let's hear it.
He's also, I respect his leadership in college, and I'll be getting a little spicy with this. In June 2020, this is from NFL.com from Lance Zerlin. In June 2020, Chuba Hubbard threatened to boycott team activities because OSU head coach Mike Gundy wore a T-shirt with the logo of One American News Network, which is known as a far-right outlet. Gundy apologized to players later that week and committed to making changes. Sometimes we root for players we like, and I like that Chuba Hubbard put himself on the line and said, I'm boycotting.
I do
too. I'm watching Ted Lasso again with my girlfriend and we watched the episode where Sam Obisanya put the tape. Okay, no spoilers. It was just nice to see the leadership and the group solidarity behind him. And sometimes, you got to play fantasy with your heart. And I like Chuba as a player. I like 100%. Chuba as a person. Give me some more Chuba.
No, I love it. I had never heard that story. I did know the story about Mike Van Gindy wearing the OAN Network shirt. But I didn't know that story about Chuba. That's fantastic.
Chuba led the charge.
I love that. Yeah, sometimes you do, man. You got to play with your heart because, let's just play with the feels a little bit. You got to have players you like.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So with that being said, I don't know if everybody knows Mixon's past, but he's had some very questionable off-field things, with possible domestic violence and things like that. And if you want to play with your heart and still have a really good time and probably still win, it's okay to swap Mixon for Chuba straight up.
Yep. No, it totally is. I cannot tell you how fast I gave away my shares of Deshaun Watson and all that stuff started to go down. It's like, absolutely not. I still cannot. I can't roster him. I can't do it.
The very first allegation that came out was the same week that I drafted him at 103 in my very first Dynasty startup. The very first Dynasty startup, I picked 103, and before my second pick, the allegations started coming out. I said, man, this is not looking like a good start. Now, I feel the same way. I did accept a trade getting Deshaun Watson last year going into the fantasy playoffs. There was a team that was looking to contend, and it was such a good offer that I just couldn't tweak it to say, I don't want Deshaun Watson. Give me something else.
Sure.
Somebody sent me Breece and Deshaun Watson for Fields, just Fields going into the fantasy playoffs.
Then you turn Deshaun Watson.
Right. So I've been trying to do that ever since then, and I can't even get more than a first for him. So he's rotting there on my roster. But I compromised a little bit to get Breece.
Jameis Winston is going to be the starter by week 10. And I cannot. Did you see his team facility video from earlier today? His long coat.
No, that goofball. I can't wait.
No, it's awesome. He did a whole tour of the Browns team facilities and was just a total goofball about the whole thing. And it was just, I know he stole crab legs, but
he's an idiot. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that, but he's an idiot. He's a goofy idiot. And I think that if
he's goofy,
I think he jumped up on the table in a public setting in a cafeteria. I was like, I love women. It's a very, it's a euphemism, but if he was a friend of ours, he would just be the idiot friend, and we'd love the cannon of the arm. We've all had that friend. And if you don't have one, you are probably that friend.
Yep. Well, and if you want to go out and get Jameis Winston, an old problem is new. God, this is going to drive me crazy. I hope Jen's not watching.
I'll never fault somebody for mispronouncing something that they read, because it means that they read, and that's pretty rare these days. So good job for reading.
I'm not reading right now. I'm staring at your face.
Oh.
But speaking of things you can read, if you want to go acquire Jameis Winston, as I mentioned earlier, go check out the Razzball Dynasty trade chart. There is a link in the show sheet. There's also a link for my Dynasty rankings and our consensus rookie rankings. So make sure you go and check those out. And I'll remind you guys one more time, please make sure to follow us at FF Dino Diehards, at Razzball, at Nate Palvo, at Mad Jester. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Pretty please. And check out our other YouTube channel, youtube.com at Dynasty Diehards. We're going to have a bunch of short form content and other stuff coming out on that channel that you will only find there. For Matt Chester, I'm Nate Palvo. Thank you for tuning in to Dynasty Diehards on this Friday. We love you, and we will see you next week.